In the West, legends are born in the dust and blood of forgotten battles. But which westerns truly stand the test of time as the greatest ever made? Today, we're not just ranking iconic films. We're exploring the stories that shaped a genre, changed cinema, and captured the spirit of the frontier. Join us as we count down the top 10 westerns ever made and discover the films that still resonate with courage, vengeance, and redemption. Let's dive right in, starting with number 10. If you love action-packed westerns, Tombstone is an absolute must-watch. This film perfectly balances historical events with Hollywood flair. The gunfight at the OK Corral is one of the most famous shootouts in history, and Tombstone gives us a thrilling and dramatic version of the story. But it's not just about action. Val Kilmer's portrayal of Doc Holliday brings depth to the movie, making it more than just a shoot-'em-up. Holliday's loyalty to Wyatt Earp and his tragic personal struggles make for one of the most memorable Western characters of the modern era. Don't think there's 9 Westerns better than Tombstone? Well, hold on to your saddle, partner. This countdown is just getting started. The Man Who Shot Liberty Valance might not have the scale of some other Westerns on this list, but its exploration of the contrast between myth and reality in the West sets it apart. John Ford brings us a story where one man's legend is built on another's sacrifice. As John Wayne's gruff cowboy clashes with James Stewart's idealistic lawyer, the film asks tough questions about the nature of heroism and whether the truth is always worth telling. It's a quieter Western, but its themes are still incredibly powerful. But while Liberty Valance dives into the myths of the West, our next film captures the heart of sacrifice and redemption. Shane is often regarded as one of the quintessential Westerns. Alan Ladd stars as a mysterious gunfighter who wanders into a town caught in the struggle between homesteaders and a ruthless cattle baron. Shane becomes a protector, but as the movie unfolds, we learn that violence is inescapable in his world. This film captures the tragedy of the gunslinger's life, someone who can never truly settle down or escape the violent world he's a part of. Shane is a Western about sacrifice, about giving up personal peace for the greater good. Now let's move to a Western with epic landscapes and mythic storytelling, directed by one of the greatest Western directors of all time. Sergio Leone's Once Upon a Time in the West is a masterclass in style, tension, and atmosphere. With its sprawling landscapes, long, slow build-ups, and unforgettable performances, it's less about action and more about the inevitability of change in the Old West. Henry Fonda, typically cast as a hero, plays one of the coldest villains in Western history, making the story all the more gripping. Leone's operatic approach turns the familiar Western tropes into something mythic and larger than life. But while Once Upon a Time in the West was a slow burn epic, our next entry packs a punch with unrelenting tension and real-time stakes. In High Noon, the clock is literally ticking. This film plays out in real time as we watch Marshall Will Kane, played by Gary Cooper, prepare to face down a gang of outlaws. What makes this film so unique is how it focuses not on action, but on the moral dilemmas and the isolation that Kane faces. The townspeople, who Kane has protected for years, refuse to stand by him in his hour of need. And that sets up one of the most tense, suspenseful climaxes in Western cinema. It's a story about duty, loyalty, and courage when you're standing alone. But when it comes to standing alone, few films capture the weight of vengeance and redemption like our next entry. The outlaw Josie Wales tells the story of a Confederate soldier seeking revenge for the murder of his family. But what sets this film apart is how Josie's journey evolves. It's not just a revenge story, it's also about redemption, found family, and the search for peace in a violent world. Clint Eastwood both stars and directs, bringing his signature tough guy persona, but with layers of vulnerability. As we see Josie Wales take in an unlikely group of survivors, The film becomes a reflection on the power of community and forgiveness in the aftermath of war. After such a heavy, character-driven Western, let's turn to a movie that delivers pure, unrelenting tension. Though technically a mini-series, Lonesome Dove deserves its place here for its sheer scope and powerful storytelling. Based on Larry McMurtry's novel, it tells the story of two retired Texas Rangers leading a cattle drive north. But what makes Lonesome Dove truly special is the depth of its characters and its portrayal of friendship, sacrifice, and the harsh realities of the frontier. Robert Duvall and Tommy Lee Jones give career-defining performances as Gus and Call, and their journey feels epic in every sense of the word. And now we reach the top 3, films that not only shaped the Western genre, but changed cinema as a whole. This is Sergio Leone's magnum opus, a spaghetti Western that has transcended the genre and become a part of pop culture. The trio of Clint Eastwood, Lee Van Cleef, and Eli Wallach, combined with Ennio Morricone's legendary score, makes this a truly unforgettable film. The Mexican Standoff at the film's climax has become one of the most iconic scenes in cinema. The good, the bad, and the ugly is more than just a Western. It's an epic about greed, survival, and the blurred lines between good and evil. Now we're down to the top 2, and honestly, it's really a toss-up between these next 2 films. They could just as easily be interchanged. They are both that good. John Ford's The Searchers is a Western that challenges viewers in ways few other films of the era dared to do. John Wayne stars as Ethan Edwards, a bitter, obsessed man on a mission to find his niece, who has been kidnapped by Comanche warriors. But this is no simple rescue mission. Ethan's character is deeply flawed. His hatred and racism fuel his journey, making him an anti-hero, rather than the straightforward hero you might expect from a John Wayne film. The Searchers explores themes of vengeance, racism, and the darker side of the American frontier. But while Ethan Edwards is driven by vengeance, our number 1 film redefines what it means to be a hero in the West. Unforgiven is Clint Eastwood's masterpiece, a revisionist Western that deconstructs the myth of the heroic gunslinger. William Money, played by Eastwood, is a retired outlaw who's pulled back into a world of violence for one last job. But unlike the glorified shootouts of earlier Westerns, the violence here is brutal, messy, and far from heroic. This film doesn't shy away from showing the consequences of violence. It's a meditation on guilt, redemption, and the way legends are built on blood. Eastwood's portrayal of William Money is raw and unflinching, and the film's moral complexity makes it stand out as one of the greatest Westerns ever made. It's really a toss-up between Unforgiven and The Searchers for the top spot. They could easily be interchanged, but for now, Unforgiven takes it because of the way it challenges the very core of Western mythology and how it completely redefined the genre. The ending gave me chills the first time I watched it. And there you have it, folks, the top 10 greatest Westerns ever made. These films don't just capture the spirit of the Old West. They reveal something timeless about human nature, the struggle between good and evil, the cost of violence, and the search for redemption in a lawless land. While these 10 made the final cut, there are a few other classics that deserve recognition. Films like Butch Cassidy and The Sundance Kid and Open Range offer their own unique contributions to the genre, whether through iconic characters, unforgettable performances, or deep emotional storytelling. The shootout in Open Range is one of the greatest ever filmed, and I wanted to include it, but I couldn't justify removing any of the others that made it into this list. Each of these Westerns has left a mark on the genre and on cinema as a whole. Whether you're drawn to the larger-than-life legends, the moral dilemmas, or the action-packed showdowns, these films have it all. Which of these Westerns is your favorite? Did your favorite make the list, or is there one you think we missed? Let us know in the comments below, and be sure to subscribe for more in-depth examinations of the greatest Westerns of all time. If you enjoyed this countdown, check out our other video on the shocking revelations about the good, the bad, and the ugly. It's filled with behind-the-scenes stories that will make you see the film in a whole new light. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the trail.